My name is Ewan Miller from Icosis Architects, appointed by Hanover to design some new housing on a site which they had a housing block on, which had been flood damaged some years before and was half empty. We worked closely with Hanover to come up with an alternative design for the site, demolishing the existing block, which couldn't really be retained viably, and introduce 21 new apartments, 3 of which are wheelchair accessible along one side on the south side, and then the main block of 18 apartments on the north side, all south facing and look into a communal garden area, which we hoped would engender a sense of community in the scheme, with windows looking onto the main natural garden space in the centre. And then alongside that, a small garden room where everybody could use and meet over a cup of coffee and talk about what they were going to be planting. I mean, it was a little thing that we tried to do as well, was just raise the floor to ceiling heights in the apartments as well, just to give that bit of extra space that you don't often get in social housing.
So I'm Julie McKinnon, I'm the projects manager for Hanover, and I deal with all our new build programme. So I think this development has achieved beautiful properties inside. They've got lots of space, they all have 2 bedrooms, they have a lovely outlook, and I think that's probably one of the most important things for the people that live here, is that they can look outside their very large windows and see a beautiful landscape outside. It's outside is very much a community where the tenants can get together, do a bit of gardening together, and those that maybe aren't able to get out can be part of the outside while they're inside. I think it's been very successful. You know, some of the tenants that moved in here may have been isolated where they were living before, and this gives them a very much a better quality of life, and it gives them their independence back.
I'm Peter Martin, I'm the Group Development Director for the Sanctuary Group, and we're here to look at the phases 4 and 5 of Anderson in Glasgow. We're seeing our final 2 phases of the Anderson regeneration, which has stretched for the last 12 years. We have built 520 houses in the centre of Glasgow, all for the affordable market. The group are particularly proud of these 2 phases. We've been pleased we've been able to build the properties using the sandstone finishes of the traditional Glasgow tenements. We're proud that we've been able to build high quality homes in the city centre for people who, at all points in terms of incomes and salary, that they can have homes that relate to an area where they come and work. That we can build something that built on the original community of Anderson. It was a great community in poor quality housing. Now it's a great community in high quality housing. We've been able to do a bit of everything. We have the wonderful Andy Scott statue of Charles Rennie Mackintosh, first one in the city, which we're very pleased to put into our development. We were delighted to reopen Argyle Street that had been closed for too long. We were delighted to just touch history by bringing some of the original cobblestones of the Glasgow streets back to Glasgow. And we were delighted to do it while at the same time create beautiful places for people to live. We didn't have to compromise in the quality of the houses to achieve the external finishes. So at all points in the development, we've been able to create something that is lovely to look at and great to live in.
I'm Simon Metcalf. I'm the Head of Development for New Gorbals Housing Association, and we are standing in our Phase 1C development as part of the Lauriston Transformational Area. It's a development which provides 46 absolutely fantastic social rented houses and 9 houses for shared equity. The development our aim with the development, apart from providing fantastic housing, was twofold. It was to create an entrance feature for the transformational area for traffic coming in from the south, and also a gateway into the city centre, which lies just beyond us. But then also to integrate the existing housing that lies beside this development into the transformational area. So the design of the building wraps around the existing houses, shares the access roads and parking with it, and makes it feel part of the big transformational development that's gone on beside it. So that was the objective. The building, as far as we possibly could, is double fronted, so it has its public street frontage, and then it has the rear access onto the courtyard, which faces onto the existing housing as well. Feedback so far has been pretty good. I'm always slightly hesitant to take early feedback too seriously, because many of these tenants have moved from very poor housing into something which is so much better that they start off going, it's magnificent. I'm more interested in what they think after a year or 18 months, but so far tenants are happy with the houses. Heating costs have been pretty low. Snagging defects have been much less than we would typically expect, so it suggests that the builder got the building process right, and all of the social housing was let as soon as it was available. So the demand for this development has been huge.
My name is Anthony Hemmings. I was the project architect for the project at Brunswick Road for Ian Springford Architects, and we're now on Brunswick Road. I think this has been one of the most successful projects, certainly the most successful housing projects we've done as a practice, and one that I think we take a lot of pride in that this street was a real no man's land before this project was here. So for years this was the post office depot. The street had very little character, a real mix of typologies. You had sort of gable ends of tenements, you had sort of 1950s, 60s bungalows, you've got all sorts along the street. The development has really brought a sort of a level of cohesiveness and started to reintegrate it back into the hillside area, which is exactly what we planned to do, and I think it's worked really well. I think the biggest successes are how it's worked in urban terms, and that's I think is the biggest success. I think the materials are great. It's working obviously for a big housing developer. You've got to fight your battles. You've got to you really got to look for sort of something fairly simple, but trying to get the best quality materials, the most amount of light, the biggest windows, and really just choosing what you really want from the scheme. And I think we really wanted, yes, we wanted a nice brick, and I think we've got a lovely brick, but we also wanted the balconies, and trying to integrate them into a timber kit was a challenge, because try to wrap the brick around and recess the balconies all while the timber kit's settling and the balconies are made of steel. There's detailing challenges that are really, and it's not the sort of thing that walking down the street you'd notice, but I think what you do notice is that the street feels very much like a residential street, and it's great to see how many people are using the balconies, and every single balcony out there is covered in stuff and plants and also in chairs. They're really well used, and that's fantastic to see. So yeah, I think that's something that we're definitely very proud of.
So my name is Ross Barrett. I'm an associate with HLM Architects, and I was lead designer for Powell Hall. Powell Hall sits on the North Hall of St Andrews campus. It's a very robust, relatively quite harsh and science campus for the university, so it was a real challenge to try and respond to that context and place a high quality student accommodation in that context. Key to that was the relationship to the existing hall, and also key there was to try and look very closely at the student experience, to try and create something that engendered a sense of community, to engender some collaboration across both halls. So and I think in terms of making the most of that collaboration, we're very conscious of the ensuite room arrangements, and it was key to provide a range of different spaces for students to come together, to interact, to socialise, both internally and externally. So we have a lovely external courtyard which we've opened up, and we've demolished some of the existing hall to try and open that space up to create a space for students to come together. Internally there's a games room, there's a cinema room, there's a range of different study spaces.
Yeah, my name's Neil Mackay. I'm the Managing Director of Urban Union, and we're the developer and partner of the City of Edinburgh for the redevelopment and regeneration of the Pennywell area. Well, this particular development we found has been highly successful. We've managed to mix tenures quite successfully with both private for sale and social rent and mid-market rent. Well, we're very much, community is very much at the heart of what we do, and it sounds trite, but absolutely the journey that the community has been on with us has been the most important part of this development. I think initially we provided a range of housing that's attractive to people and make them want to stay in the area, and also attract new people to the area. So it's not about rebuilding the community with new people, it's about servicing the community as existed.
My name's John Parry. I was the project architect for Barton Wilmore for phase 2 of the Pennywell regeneration project. Well, what's important to us at Barton Wilmore is creating a development which gives people new houses, gives them safe, warm, affordable houses, and starts to provide people with the springboard that they need to really move on in life. Specifically in this development, we're pleased at the fact that we've created a new edge to the Pennywell area. We've created 2 and 3 and 4 storey flats along Muirhouse Parkway, which create an edge. Behind that, we've created smaller scale development with 2, 3 and 4 bedroom houses. And at the heart of that, there's a green space which links to the broader green spaces that we're creating across the Pennywell development.
My name's Martin English, and I'm involved with Trail Architects, and we're the architects for the project. We're seeing a social housing block which is evolved from various collaborative approaches to try and develop a very complicated site in the centre of Inverness. I think the way that we've addressed this slope, and we've managed to take different accesses off basically an existing historical stair, so we've recreated basically a vertical street which existed many years ago. Quite genuinely, I think that the fact that it was such a complicated project meant that everybody had to come to the table to try and solve the problems, and that was evident from start to finish in the project, and it was genuinely enjoyable because of that. Just the reaction to the project, it's been quite surprising how the reaction it's had and how so many people seem to find favour in it. It's been very rewarding.
I'm Gail Matheson. I'm the Chief Executive of Highland Housing Alliance, and Highland Housing Alliance, along with the Highland Council, are the owners of the building. It was regeneration of an area of Inverness that a lot of people avoided. It was a site that had lain derelict for a long time, a lot of antisocial behaviour. It was lovely to see such an iconic building as this go up and see the stairs be refurbished and loads of people using them now. Been really surprised at how many people have said to me, "Oh, I love your project at the Reigning Stairs," and how amazing it is and how you can see it from the other side of Inverness. The colours that we've used, I think the architects have really made fantastic use of the small space and the difficulties in getting materials down a very steep slope.
So my name is Ross Barrett. I'm an associate with HLM Architects and lead designer for Whitehorn Hall. Whitehorn Hall has 184 bedrooms. Key here was to try and create something that responded very positively to the character of the existing University Hall. So there's a very particular interior design feel here, which tries to echo some of that history of the existing hall, but also responding to the conservation area. So the form and the materials try very hard to sit very, very well and respond to the context in terms of the roofscape, like rich or baronial roofscape, so that we've employed the use of dormer windows, chimneys, projecting bays, which again all reflect the existing conservation area. I mean, along St Leonard's Road, it was very important to respect those existing mature trees, sit the building back, but engage with those trees and still create some views out across to the sports pitches. Still makes a positive contribution. I'm most proud about the fact that students love living here. I think they've really responded well to the spaces. They're really well used. I think we've made a really great contribution, I think, to the St Andrews landscape.